The first time I forgot my reusable bags at the grocery store, I shrugged it off. It was just one of those days. A bit rushed, a bit distracted. No big deal, right? The second time it happened, I felt a twinge of guilt. I reminded myself to be more careful next time, but life got busy. And now, staring at the mountain of plastic bags accumulating in my pantry, I realize I've got a problem. It started innocently enough. A hectic day here, a spontaneous shop there. But weeks turned into months and my eco-conscious habits slipped away. I used to be the kind of person who proudly toted my canvas bags, a small badge of my commitment to the environment. But now, every time I open that pantry door, the bags rustle accusingly like ghosts of good intentions past. Today, I've decided, will be different. No more excuses. Armed with determination and a car trunk full of canvas totes, I march into the store. As I push the cart down the familiar aisles, I can't help but feel a little self-conscious. It's ridiculous, I know. No one cares if I use plastic or canvas. But for some reason, the brightly lit grocery store seems to mock my resolve. It's so easy to fall back into old routines. I move through the store with purpose, trying to ignore the creeping doubt. I grab a carton of almond milk, some fresh vegetables, a loaf of whole grain bread, staples that don't require much thought. But as I approach the checkout, panic sets in. Did I remember to bring the bags in from the car? My heart rate quickens and my hands grow clammy as I fumble for my keys, ready to dash out to the parking lot. Then I feel it, the crinkle of canvas under my fingers. Relief washes over me as I pull out the bags from the cart. I exhale slowly, feeling the tension drain from my shoulders. It's a small victory, but as I load my groceries into those reusable bags, I feel a spark of something bigger. Maybe this is how change begins, not with grand gestures, but with small, deliberate choices in our everyday lives. As I finish loading the groceries, the checkout clerk, Zoe Nguyen, glances at my bags with a smile. She's a young woman, maybe in her early 20s, with a friendly face and a bright smile. "Nice bags," she says, scanning my items. "It's good to see people using them more. We don't get that many around here." "Thanks," I reply, feeling a bit embarrassed by the attention. "I'm trying to be better about it. I had a bit of a lapse." Zoe nods understandingly. "It happens. But hey, you're doing it now, and that's what matters." As I pay for my groceries, I notice an elderly woman in the line next to me, watching our exchange with interest. She's petite, with a stylish hat perched on her gray curls and a sharp glint in her eyes. As I finish up, she steps over to my lane. "Excuse me, dear," she says, her voice warm but firm. "I just wanted to say good for you. We all need to do our part, and it's nice to see someone your age taking it seriously." I'm taken aback by her kind words. "Thank you," I stammer, not quite sure how to respond. She nods, satisfied. "I'm Edith Goldstein," she adds, offering her hand. "Taylor Reeves," I reply, shaking her hand. Her grip is surprisingly strong. "Keep it up, Taylor," she says with a wink. "The planet needs more people like you." I smile, feeling oddly touched by the interaction. As I head out of the store, I can't help but think about Edith's words. Maybe my small efforts do matter after all. On the drive home, I find myself deep in thought. What other habits have I let slide without noticing? My mind races through a mental checklist, turning off lights, using a water bottle instead of buying plastic, walking instead of driving short distances. I used to be so diligent, but somewhere along the way, I've gotten complacent. The image of my pantry stuffed with plastic bags flashes in my mind. What am I going to do with all those bags? It seems wasteful to throw them out, but keeping them isn't doing any good either. I'll have to figure out a way to repurpose or recycle them. My thoughts drift to Casey Winters, my eco-conscious friend who first inspired me to be more environmentally aware. We met in college, and Casey's passion for sustainability was contagious. She always had creative ideas for reducing waste and living more sustainably, and her enthusiasm rubbed off on me. We used to go to farmers markets together, swapping tips on how to live more eco-friendly lives. I smile, remembering how she convinced me to start composting, something I still do to this day. I make a mental note to call Casey later and catch up. Maybe she'll have some ideas for what to do with the plastic bags. More than that, I realize I could use her encouragement to get back on track with my other habits. When I get home, my roommate Morgan Patel is in the kitchen, stirring something on the stove. The smell of curry fills the air, and my stomach growls in response. "Hey, how was the store?" Morgan asks without looking up. "Good," I reply, setting my reusable bags on the counter. I actually remembered my bags this time. Morgan glances over with a grin. "Nice. I know you've been struggling with that." "Yeah," I admit, feeling sheepish. I didn't realize how much I'd let things slide until I saw the mountain of plastic in the pantry. Morgan laughs. "It's a lot. We should probably figure out what to do with all that." "I was thinking the same thing," I say, leaning against the counter. "Maybe we can recycle some of them? Or find a place that takes plastic bags." "Good idea," Morgan agrees. "We could also use some as trash liners or donate them to a thrift store." We discuss a few more ideas, and I feel a sense of relief knowing I'm not alone in tackling this problem. Morgan has always been practical and resourceful, qualities I've come to appreciate more and more. As we eat dinner together, I share my thoughts from the drive home. I've been thinking about how I used to be so much more eco-conscious, and somewhere along the way I just stopped. It's like I got lazy or something. Morgan nods thoughtfully. I think that happens to everyone at some point. Life gets busy, and it's easy to let things slide. But the important thing is that you're aware of it now and making changes. "I guess so," I say, still feeling a bit guilty. It just bothers me that I didn't notice how far I'd slipped. "Don't beat yourself up," Morgan advises. "Change is hard, and it's not always linear. What matters is that you're trying again." Her words are comforting, and I feel a renewed sense of determination. You're right. I'm going to get back on track, starting with those plastic bags. Later that evening, I call Casey. We haven't talked in a while, so we spend some time catching up before I dive into the reason for my call. "Casey, I need your advice," I say, explaining the situation with the plastic bags. She listens patiently, and I can almost hear her nodding on the other end of the line. "It sounds like you've had a bit of an eco-slump," she says with a laugh. "But don't worry, it happens to the best of us." I just feel like I've been so careless, I admit. I used to be so good about this stuff. "Don't be too hard on yourself," Casey replies. "The fact that you're aware of it and want to make a change is what counts. So, let's talk solutions. First, with the plastic bags, you can definitely recycle them. Some grocery stores have drop-off bins for plastic bag recycling. Or you could get creative and use them for art projects, like weaving them into reusable mats or bags. I chuckle at the idea of turning my pile of plastic into art. That's actually a pretty cool idea. Yeah, it can be fun. And as for getting back on track with your habits, start small. Maybe pick one habit to focus on each week. It could be as simple as remembering your reusable bags, or it could be something new, like reducing water waste or trying out a zero-waste challenge for a day. Casey's enthusiasm is infectious, just like I remember. Thanks, Casey. You always know how to motivate me. That's what friends are for, she says warmly. And hey, if you ever need a little extra push, just call me. We can brainstorm together. We chat for a while longer, and by the time we hang up, I'm feeling much better about my situation. Casey's advice is just what I needed to hear, and I'm excited to start making positive changes again. The next morning, I wake up with a sense of purpose. I gather all the plastic bags from the pantry and sort through them, separating the ones that can be reused or repurposed from those that need to be recycled. I find a nearby grocery store that accepts plastic bags for recycling and make a plan to drop them off later in the week. I also take Casey's advice and choose one habit to focus on: reducing water waste. I start by taking shorter showers and being more mindful of how much water I use when washing dishes. It's a small change, but it feels good to be making progress. Throughout the week, I notice a shift in my mindset. I'm more conscious of the choices I make, from the products I buy to the way I use resources. I even start looking into ways to reduce waste at work, like bringing my own lunch in reusable containers and encouraging my coworkers to do the same. One afternoon, while shopping for groceries, I run into Edith Goldstein again. She recognizes me and gives me a warm smile. "How's it going, Taylor? Still using those reusable bags?" "I am," I reply proudly. "And I've started making some other changes too, thanks to your encouragement." Edith beams. "That's wonderful to hear. It's the little things that make a big difference." We chat for a few minutes, and I'm struck by how a simple interaction at the grocery store has led to so many positive changes in my life. Edith's words remind me that change doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can start with small, deliberate choices that add up over time. As the weeks go by, I continue to build on the habits I've been focusing on. I tackle one area of my life at a time, whether it's reducing energy consumption, minimizing food waste, or finding new ways to repurpose items I would have otherwise thrown away. My relationship with Morgan grows stronger as we work together to make our household more sustainable. We share tips, hold each other accountable, and celebrate our progress. It feels good to be part of something meaningful, even if it's just within the walls of our home. Casey and I also stay in touch regularly, sharing our successes and challenges. Her encouragement keeps me motivated, and I find myself looking forward to our conversations. I'm reminded of the importance of community and support when trying to make positive changes. One day, I come across an article about a local community garden that's looking for volunteers. I've always loved the idea of gardening, and it seems like the perfect opportunity to connect with others who share my values. I sign up and quickly become involved, helping to plant vegetables, organize composting efforts, and educate others about sustainable practices. The garden becomes a new source of joy in my life, and I'm amazed at how much I learn from the experience. It's not just about growing food, it's about cultivating a sense of connection, both to the earth and to the people around me. One evening, as I sit in the garden, surrounded by the fruits of our labor, I take a moment to reflect on how far I've come. What started as a simple realization about plastic bags has led to a complete shift in my lifestyle. I've reconnected with old habits, formed new ones, and discovered a community of like-minded individuals who inspire me to keep going. I think back to the day I first decided to make a change, and I'm struck by how much can grow from a single seed of determination. The mountain of plastic bags that once loomed over me has been replaced by a sense of purpose and fulfillment. I feel more in tune with my values, more connected to the world around me, and more confident in my ability to make a difference. As I pack up my things and prepare to head home, I smile to myself, knowing that this journey is far from over. There will always be more challenges to face, more habits to improve, and more opportunities to learn and grow. But for now, I'm content with the progress I've made and the path I'm on.
As you listen to Taylor Reeves' story about rediscovering her eco-conscious habits, let's take a moment to go over some key vocabulary words that will help you better understand the narrative. First, we have the word accumulating. This verb means collecting or gathering something over time. For example, Taylor notices the mountain of plastic bags accumulating in her pantry. Next is the adjective complacent, which describes feeling satisfied with how things are and not wanting to make them better. Taylor admits, somewhere along the way, I've gotten complacent. Repurpose is a verb that means to use something for a different purpose than it was originally intended for. For example, Taylor and her roommate discuss how they could repurpose some plastic bags as trash liners or donate them to a thrift store. We also have contagious, an adjective that describes something that can spread from one person to another, usually in a positive way. Casey's passion for sustainability is described as contagious, inspiring Taylor to take action. Diligent is an adjective that means careful and serious in your work or duties. Taylor reflects on how she used to be so diligent in her eco-friendly habits. Encouragement is a noun that refers to support or confidence given to someone to help them continue doing something. Taylor feels, Casey's advice is just what I needed to hear, and I'm excited to start making positive changes again. Minimizing is a verb that means reducing something to the smallest possible amount or degree. Taylor aims to reduce energy consumption by minimizing food waste. Sustainable is an adjective meaning capable of being maintained over the long term without harming the environment. Taylor and her roommate worked together to make their household more sustainable. Another important word is fulfillment, a noun that describes a feeling of satisfaction that comes from achieving something meaningful. Taylor reflects on how the mountain of plastic bags has been replaced by a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Finally, we have catalyst, a noun that means something that causes a change or event to happen. Taylor's decision to use reusable bags becomes the catalyst for a much larger transformation in her life. These words and phrases are key to understanding Taylor's journey toward a more sustainable lifestyle. By learning them, you'll be able to better appreciate the story and expand your English vocabulary.